G'day all. Um, what's going on for me at present is my sleep pattern is still way out of whack. I'm not getting to sleep until, well, the last couple of days it's been until 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I sleep until 9:30 or thereabouts, have a can of Coke and a cigarette and go back to sleep until, 2 o'clock in the morning. 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. I tried to stay awake all day today, but I laid down due to boredom and I crashed out. So whether I can achieve that today or not remains to be seen, but it's just a quick update on my sleep pattern. Another issue that came to light today was that in the commune that I stay in, there's a drink stall, and a mother and a young girl. The mother works there, but she looks after her young daughter as well, who's approximately 3 years of age. And I've known for a couple of weeks now that the little girl has been scared of me. And initially, I thought that the mother may have used me as a tool of some sort, like the bad guy, played on her fears and insecurities, the foreigner, who's nasty, and I can remember thinking that in my mind, and a voice said to me, right, she'll be gone by the end of the week. And so it turned out that for a couple of weeks she wasn't there. And, she put in an appearance on a couple of days, without the little girl, but didn't open the drink stall. And my mind said, she's got an identical twin, and so that instance led me to believe that, I was part of an experiment again, that I was connected with MK Ultra or something like that, because it foretold, an instance where something came to be true. But it ended up turning out that it was just school holidays and the drink stall closed due to a lack of clientele, which is common sense. So this morning I was out the front having a cigarette, and the owner of the drink stall, or the one that financed its operation, was sitting out there, and she tried to explain to me in broken English while she was laughing that the little girl now, not that it's been discussed before, but the little girl has nightmares about Mr. Coker, who is me. And I didn't know how to respond to that. I shook my finger at her because I thought she was being bad. I knew there was something going on, but, more detail came to light today. I wanted to fix it straight away. And I approached the owners of this particular guest house, or one of their staff who speaks pretty good English, and I said, that the young girl was extremely petrified of me, and that perhaps the solution lay in the fact that if we could get his mother to scold me or something like that, or her mother to scold me, and he just looked at me really oddly, so I left it at that, and I came back, and more detail came to light in the sense that, you know, I think the males, you know, who turn up at the drink stall every now and again, who are part of that family, um, you know, they play on her fear and insecurity as well. They may have initially started out, you know, just joking around, playing mind games with the three-year-old, but now she has a real phobia. And I got pretty angry internally and wanted to destroy them basically. And you know, but as time progressed, I realised, you know, that this is life on life's terms. You know, that I always want to be perceived as a hero, not the villain, and that I wanted to control the situation, when in reality, this young girl has to deal with, you know, the cards that she's been dealt in life. And she may be highly sensitive, you know, but reality is projecting my fear onto this situation isn't going to make it any better. You know, I'm not in a position to adopt a 3-year-old child and raise her, you know, so she never has to fear again, you know, and will always be sheltered, cared, and protected, you know, and like I mentioned with that fear and projection, you know, I once ate glue at school, and I came home and watched on TV that night a report that said people had been sniffing glue and, you know, had been dying from it. You know, I walked around for 2 or 3 days thinking that death was imminent, you know, because I'd eaten glue, which had to be far worse than sniffing it. And when I eventually broke down and told my mother, she just laughed at me, you know, and that just compounded the fact. You know, here I was thinking that I was going to die, and she laughed at me when I voiced my fear. And she tried to console me, but I just pushed her away. You know, that's how real it was to me. You know, and she destroyed me by laughing at me. You know, so part of me identifies with this small child in the sense, you know, I know what it's like to have a, you know, a phobia to the point where you know, think death and bad things are going to happen. I was a little older. I was 7 or 8 years old, you know, and I took up smoking not long after that, you know, so that to prove that I was courageous, you know, that I could face death. You know, I was aware that it could give you cancer and things along those lines. But, you know, I wanted to be fearless. And, you know, I still smoke cigarettes to this day, you know, because I can't stand that neurotic part of myself, you know, which I'm still learning to love and embrace, as opposed to the ideal self, you know, which I patronized and thought was going to be my salvation. You know, I've had to let that go and accept the fact that I'm somewhat neurotic due to the trauma that I've experienced in my early childhood. And that's okay. You know, I don't have to be this gregarious, affable, dynamic, charismatic individual. You know, so you know, part of me wants to remedy this situation with the three-year-old girl immediately, you know, so I can move back into the heroic role. Not that I ever had much to do with them anyway. You know, reality is, I think she picked up on my fear and insecurity and developed her own neurosis. And, you know, reality is she's a sensitive little girl. You know, when I went back to the manageress and told her that I was being, you know, that I'd panicked and that I was overtired and a little bit crazy. She mentioned that the little girl is scared of her as well, and but when she wants cake and things along those lines, she's a different person. Um, so yeah, life, addiction, sensitivity, you know, she has to build up her resilience. My fear is that she'll end up like me, developing a neurosis, mental illness, things along those lines, addiction. And, I'm absolutely powerless over that sort of shit. So life can be really, really cruel and harsh, especially to sensitive people. So learning to establish boundaries, that's what I really need to do here in this situation. Um, and also, what it came to the fore is that, when I'm deluded, I still see through I still see through the lenses of a small child, where everything is captivating and enriching and invigorating. And, I am parading in, what was it? Uh, Innocence and naivety. And everything is glorious and magnificent, and it's not the case at all. There's predators in life, and they're not all bad. It's all part of a whole. They're good in business and corporations and things along those lines. Psychopaths. So yeah, it's opened my mind to the fact that in some way I thought that being a good guy would win me celebration, love, and approval. And it's not reality. There's politics in just about every situation in life, even in intimate relationships, unless, of course, you're incredibly codependent and patronize romanticism, then it's all just pure bliss, and for me that's delusional in nature as well. So yeah, I'm a bad guy. I don't have to aggravate or arouse that situation or use it as a position of power. I am not a cruel and vindictive arsehole. But I guess they're the individuals that have amplified this situation. But the truth be known, her mother is coming to know her now as she is and learning to identify her weaknesses and strengths. And, I'll try and ease her fears, and challenge myself, to see how fucking bad the situation is, by going over and purchasing a drink, because it's just tea. I drink coca, so yeah, it's sad, but life on life's terms. When I'm deluded, that lens of a child, that everything is like a paradise. It's fanciful, and it's not a complete picture. It's just one aspect of human feeling and emotion. And for me, if I exclude nature and the primitivity of it, then I'll become closed-minded again, and I'm thinking in absolutes. So it's good to be sane. Yeah. So I'll leave it at that. Please subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll get back to you. And it's good to be mentally ill. Today, I'm coping really well. Thank you.